Hey you guys, welcome back to Angel and Angela, and on this topic, you guys, we're going to talk about flying monkeys pretending to be empaths. Flying monkeys pretending to be empaths. So, this is something that has happened to me, and it's most likely happened to you guys, and it's something that I wanted to share because there's a lot of confusion, going on in the narcissistic community. And I know that from my experience, someone called it out, and that's something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. I've talked about it in other videos on how there's a lot of narcissists that, attacked me and slandered me, told lies on me, believed the lies that others told about me, believed it, they actually believed it. I've talked about in my last video how narcissists want no one to like you, and how a lot of these flying monkeys, they won't even know you sometimes. Sometimes they don't even know you. I've had family members that I didn't even see since my childhood, never seen them. They don't really know me. We don't live in the same area. They live in another country. And if they come visit, if they came to visit, they were believing the lies, and based on those lies that were told, they would treat me bad. And I would think to myself, like, who is this? Who is this lady? Who is this guy? Like, I don't even see them like that. I know they're family, but to me, they're no different than a stranger. Family is someone who is, there for you, someone who supports you. It's blood, and it shows based on the actions. If you've never done anything nice for me, if you've never treated me like a human being, if you never even gave me a chance, you don't have any type of right to come up to me and tell me anything about who I am as a person or slander me. If you want to choose to believe the lies, choose to believe the lies, but at least treat me like a human being. Treat me like with some sense. If I greeted you, greet me back. Don't sit there and just look at me or bring up something that someone said about me and try to jump on me when I don't really even know you like that. Flying monkeys are the type of people that are surrounded by narcissist people, and who the narcissist considers them as minions. The narcissist does not even respect them, because the narcissist feels like you guys are evil, but you guys are evil with no direction. I have direction. I have things that I need to do to hurt others, and I premeditate everything. You guys don't premeditate nothing. And when I share my plans with you guys, when I share my plans with the flying monkeys, you guys always go along with my plan. You guys are not original. You guys go with my plan. You guys do everything I knew you guys would do. You guys say everything that I knew you would say. The narcissist makes plans before they even share them with the flying monkeys. That's how they begin to gossip, and the narcissist knows exactly how their plan is going to get played out, because they know exactly how these flying monkeys are. And one thing that I've learned, and I've shared in another video, was, I've always told you guys, I basically don't have a family, and I'm okay with that. And I had to do that to take care of myself, because I knew that a lot of things didn't make sense, or it wasn't fair, what I would consider fair. So one thing that I told you guys is that I came from a very religious background. They're the type of people that will disown you, that will look down on you if you don't go to the church, if, they slander you, but they claim to be good people, but they'll call you names, they'll call you a prostitute. My grandmother actually compared me to Mary Magdalene. She said that one day I could be a saint like her. She's like, even Mary Magdalene was a prostitute, and I've never done anything in my life to be considered a prostitute. All I've ever done was dealt with a narcissist man, and it was just one man. So I don't know why, instead of looking at me like someone who's being abused, these people were calling me names, So, and when these people called me names, everyone went along with it. Everyone's calling me names, thinking I'm a dirty girl and all of these things, right? I'm such a bad girl. Yet, it's their kids who are out in the streets. It's their kids who are getting in trouble. It's their kids that are getting pregnant and, at a young age. And instead of slandering their kids or other people in the family, they would slander me. And that's how I would know that I was being hated by everyone, because I would be like, why am I being called names and, slandered? And it's your kids who are doing this. Your kids are, your daughter's a stripper. And, they're sitting here telling the whole family, because their daughter's a stripper bringing in a lot of money, they're telling the whole family that she's a nurse. So she's a nurse and I'm a whore, right? Everything is the opposite in the narcissist world, in the narcissist matrix. Everything is the opposite. I'm sitting here like, wow, so you guys will cover up for her and make it seem like she is someone who is respectable, right? You guys don't want no one to know. You guys want her to look like she's respectable, but slander me. And it gets to the point where your daughter is, putting tattoos on her face. So to me, it's like, as much as you guys try to hide who your daughter is, it comes to light. Everything the narcissist, this isn't to slander my cousin either, because I like my cousin, I get along with my cousin, and I feel like everyone has the free will. My problem is when people start to judge people and then claim that only God can judge, right? You're religious, only God can judge, yet you're gossiping and you're judging people every single day. With narcissists pretending to be good people and pretending to almost be victims of narcissist abuse, because that's what my people around me have portrayed to be. They portray to be victims. And when I started to get devalued by my family, like real tough. I mean, real bad. I must have been like 16 years old. So imagine a 16-year-old that, is trying to get to college, is trying to, start her own life, and who has lots of plans and who is super smart. I'm still smart. I consider myself a smart person, but now after everything that I know, it's like you're always learning something, from society itself. So it's like, I'm not going to say I'm the smartest person, but you're always learning something. And when I look back and I think about it, like, wow, your cousin, my cousin, basically, even though, narcissists show you that they're trying to make you into the black sheep. They do different things. When I look back now, I realize that even if my family was showing me signs of narcissism and doing things to me that were on the low key and I couldn't really notice at the time, or I overlooked because I was just innocent and I was just innocent in my mind. So I overlooked if someone said something about me that was negative or something, I would just overlook it because I had an innocent innocent state of mind. So I remember the first incident that really kind of like made my family throw me out the edge, basically. And that was when my cousin had moved from New York to California, and I hadn't seen him in a while. So to me, when he moved to New York, people would talk bad about him. They would say things about him. They would say, why is he all the way down there? Why isn't he with his family? So the family almost was looking at him like he made a big mistake by moving to another state and away from them, like he has no loyalty or something. Like, what's the point on being out there? Like, he has no family out there. And then I guess he started going to some church when he was out there, and the family knew it wasn't a Catholic church. So I remember they would talk bad about him, right? And he was one of my favorite cousins. Like, he was the kind of cousin that he was a lot older than me. And anytime I would get bullied by like the older kids when I was little, or, because a lot of times I tried to include myself in a lot of the things that the older kids were doing, and they would get annoyed by it because I was a lot younger. And he would always allow me to play with the older kids. He would allow me to stick around basically and observe, or he would always defend me. So that was my memory of him when they would talk about him, and I always respected him. And when he moved back to California, I was like, you know what, I'm going to start talking to my cousin. Like, I've always had a good vibe with him. And, he started preaching to me because he was going to church every week. I think he was going like 2-3 times a week. He was like super dedicated. And he started preaching to me. My grandmother basically had got mad because I was young and he was taking me to his church. He was trying to get me baptized, but I needed my parents' permission. So basically, before I start this story and let you guys know like the deeper parts of it, I want you guys to know that these experiences molded me. They made me a better person. So even if I got slandered, I look back now and I'm like, if it wasn't for these situations, I wouldn't have found out about the narcissism that goes on in different churches, right? Because I was so accustomed and trained and manipulated to go to this one church. So when I started to learn and want to explore different religions and things like that, those things actually brought me closer to myself at the end of the day. So I feel like I went through a lot of pain, but it made me, the deception made me who I am. It literally broke the spell. So, in this story, that's what I want you guys to know. So I'm basically not bitter or anything like that. This was just my experiences in the narcissist realm, because I'm on another level now. This is me just helping you guys, for the people that have been through similar situations, to get out. You need to get out. I'm sharing this story to actually show you guys how these people that they're not really, they're not really empaths. They're narcissists. They're flying monkeys at that. They're flying monkeys, and they pretend to be empaths. But let me tell you about an empath, right? An empath is someone who empathizes with others. So if you know that you were being manipulated, like a lot of us were, right? A lot of us were manipulated by the narcissist in our lives. There comes a point in time that you say, what this narcissist is doing is wrong. What this narcissist is doing to me is wrong. How they treat people, it's wrong. And you start to think to yourself, I don't like this feeling. And I don't like people who try to make others feel like this. That's what an empath really feels. An empath is like, I don't like this feeling. I don't want anyone to feel like this. I don't want to wish this on my worst enemy. And, an empath is the type of person that, when they go through a discard from the narcissist or something like that, right? An empath is the type of person to reevaluate their life. Like, an empath will sit there and try to think of like, why did things go that way, when all they wanted to do was be empathetic and care about that person. So an empath is just going to sit there and really just think about things. Why did things happen? And an empath is going to grow. You're going to grow into a better empath, where you're thinking to yourself, I know I'm an empath, but I have to withhold my empathy from overflowing, with some people, because they take advantage of that. They think it's weakness or something, when you're just a good person that has been through a lot, and you realize that most people are hurting. So you're like, everyone reacts to their pain differently, whether it's anger, manipulation, whatever it is. And you realize, hey, I got to just take care of myself. That's what an empath does, right? But during that empathy check that you're going through, not only will you go through that empathy check where you're reevaluating yourself, but you will start to think of all the things the narcissist said to you, right? That were lies. All the people they tried, for you to hate on, whether it's the new supply or their family member, their friends, all the people that they tried to hate. And you will think to yourself, dang, I fell for the narcissist trap. Dang, I shouldn't have been talking bad about that person because, I end up looking like a flying monkey talking about someone just because the narcissist is talking about them. Because the narcissist wants me to be like them. This is the whole point. The narcissist wants you to be like them. So they want you to react like them. They want you to treat others the way they treat others. So even when the narcissist is gone, you're still healing. You're still being tested. You're still being tested after they're gone. So now the test is, am I going to treat others the way the narcissist treated me? Am I going to take my anger out on others? Am I going to be mad because I'm misunderstood? Am I going to be revengeful? When I come across people that I talk bad about because the narcissist lied to me about who that person was, they just wanted me to hate them, am I going to be a super empath? Am I going to be a real authentic person, a real person, and admit my wrongs? That's what an empath does. An empath actually feels guilt over the things that they've done. And you know what an empath does? An empath corrects what they have done that's not right. That's what an empath does. They correct those things. An empath takes accountability for themselves. An empath, can actually look within and say, maybe this is happening because, I did this in the past. An empath is able to move on from situations and, be apologetic towards themselves and towards others. So that's what makes you a real person. If I come across someone and I feel like, I might have done something or said something to hurt their feelings, or I had a bad perception of them, guess what? I'm a real person. I'm not a fake person like the narcissist. I will sit there and I will tell the person to their face, hey, I'm sorry. I apologize. An empath is willing to lose relationships, lose friendships, if it means doing the right thing, if it means being alone. A super empath is the type of person that if they have done something wrong to someone, right? Because, a super empath, an empath person is the type of person that gets bullied through life for being nice. And eventually, you don't like getting bullied. So sometimes you might not act in a good light, right? So a super empath is the type of person that's like, I know that I was defending myself. I know that I probably shouldn't have done that, but I had to do it because these narcissists were eating me up alive. I had to defend myself, but I'm not proud of that, So a super empath is the type of person that they will look at things even in their childhood, and if they run across those people again, they will apologize to those people. Because you don't want to be nothing like the narcissist. That's how much guilt you might feel. That's what a super empath does. But people who pretend to be a super empath and are really flying monkeys, they're the type of people that they're only hurt when someone hurts them. So you'll see, men and women both do this. When there's a narcissist man and he's been playing women his whole life, but he finally gets played. He finally gets duped, right, by the worst type of narcissist woman. She has the perfect face, perfect body. She looks like such an angel, and the woman's a devil, right? When it finally happens to them, all of a sudden they understand what narcissism is because they've been a narcissist their whole life and they've done those tricks to other people. But when it happens to them by a woman that they really care about, they're like, how did this happen to me? I knew something funny was going on because I do this type of stuff to people all the time. The same signs that she showed me, those are things that I do to women all the time that I did to them. But dang, How can this happen to me when I always get the girl that I want? Every woman that I ever been with, they're crying over me. They're fighting over me. And, I feel like I deserved this type of woman. She's the perfect type of dream girl for me. I love this woman, and yet she doesn't see that I've been with many women before her that look nice too, and that I treated them bad. She should be happy. She should be lucky that I'm treating her good. She's lucky that I'm being nice to her. She's lucky that I care about her, because I've treated people really, really bad in the past. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to be messing with a narcissist. I don't deserve for this to happen to me. And vice versa with women, with women too. But this is what happens, is that most flying monkeys know exactly what's going on, especially when it happens to them, especially when the narcissist turns on them. Or when the narcissist feels like the flying monkey didn't do something that they were supposed to do, or they didn't get a reaction from someone, they feel like the flying monkey didn't do their job properly. So, a lot of flying monkeys and narcissists, pretend to be empaths. The narcissists, when you meet them, they try to act like they're empaths, right? They try to act like they're in pain and they're going through the same things that you're going through, and you can relate to them. And the whole time they're a narcissist. You basically help build these people up. And the moment that you help build them up, their attitude changes. They go back into feeling as if, they really didn't need you to heal. They even kind of secretly start to hate you after, or they just kind of ghost you. They basically used your kindness for weakness. And, that's how you're dealing with a flying monkey pretending to be an empath. Just like flying monkeys, they know that they're messing with a narcissist. They know they're hanging around a narcissist. They know that their friends are narcissists. They think it's a joke. They're all laughing and kikiing. They think it's a joke until it happens to them. And when it happens to them, you know what they do? They play the victim. They act like they're empaths. They act so ashamed. Oh, this happened to me. I can't believe this person betrayed me after all the times, I did all of the narcissist's dirty work. How could they just discard me like that? How could they do that to me? How can they not include me when I was always there for them, always gossiping about other people with them, always willing to talk to them on the phone for hours and hours and hours. This is why I don't gossip with people. This is why I don't talk on the phone for hours with people, because if I'm sitting on the phone with you and it's not really anything productive and it's just about gossiping, I'm working as a flying monkey. So that's why I don't like that. I can sit there and try to make someone feel good and, talk to them because I can relate, but I'm not going to sit there and gossip, and that's what a lot of flying monkeys do, is they gossip until it backfires on them, and when it backfires on them, they're the victim. Flying monkeys think that they're empaths. So in that story that I was telling you guys about with my cousin, this is why I wanted to break it down with you guys, how it goes with flying monkeys. So with my cousin, basically when he started taking me to this church, I was like 16 years old and he was almost 30. He was like in his late 20s. So because he was in his late 20s, I respected him a lot. He was my favorite cousin. And I thought he was so smart. I just thought he was smart. When I went to church with him, I could see that he really had faith. At least it looked like it. And even though my family was religious, I hadn't seen that type of faith in someone. So that's what gave me faith to believe in him, right? And I started going to the church with him. Eventually, my family found out because I'm young, and they end up finding out I'm hanging out with him. So, eventually the family disowned me because of it. And it didn't matter that I was only 16 years old. They didn't care, and I didn't know that they were going to treat me like that. And when they did treat me like that, what I noticed was that, every family has like that ringleader, and then they have a psychic, right? And then the ringleader and the psychic are controlling everyone. So the psychic was basically my cousin's mom. And what she did was she made everyone devalue me as a 16-year-old. She made everyone in the family devalue me for going to that church. Yet it was her grown son that took me there, that was picking me up. I didn't even have a car to drive. You guys. So basically, he ended up going to that church. We're still going to the church, even though the family's not talking to me. He's picking me up. We're going to church together, like a ritual, basically. And he never once talked to me about really the family. He basically told me the family was treating him bad, and I kind of empathized with him. But what was so crazy is that I was empathizing with him, that they were treating him bad, but I wasn't even allowed around the family anymore. I wasn't even allowed. So it's like, how am I not allowed around the family, and you're sitting here complaining about how they're treating you bad, but yet they're giving you some type of privilege, right? Then not only that, but afterwards, he ends up realizing that the church that he's going to is not really a good church. The pastor was talking bad about him. Everything started backfiring on him. Everything started backfiring on him. And I couldn't see it now. I couldn't see it then, but I could see it now. Everything started backfiring on him. He was getting treated bad at the church. I wasn't getting treated bad at the church. I was getting treated bad with the family. It was the opposite, right? So next thing you know, I remember he comes, he picks me up, we go to a restaurant. We're basically parked in the car, and he just starts crying. First of all, I'm a 16-year-old, never seen a grown man cry. So I'm like looking at my cousin like, oh snap, like my guy cousin's crying. I've never seen a man cry. This is weird. And then not only that, but he was suicidal. He was telling me how he wanted to die, how he wanted to drive his car on the freeway and crash and just die. And he was telling me all of these like suicidal things. And I just remember patting his back and like giving him a hug and, telling him that I care about him and not to do these things to himself, to not hurt himself. And, being a good person to him, because that's genuinely who I am, just wanting people to be happy. Even then. So I remember just being there, like wiping his tears. And then I never spoke to him again. And I understood that maybe he was depressed and he didn't want to talk to me. Now let's fast forward to years later. I think I just turned 19 or something. But basically, I'm coming around the family. They're never treating me right. Yeah, I'm basically forcing myself into the family at that point, because I didn't want to believe, from 16 to 19, I didn't want to believe that my family hated me. So I was forcing myself around the family. And I remember there was an incident where they were talking bad about my aunt. My aunt, she's like one of my favorite aunts. They were attacking her. So now they're attacking my favorite aunt. They attacked my favorite cousin. Now they're attacking my favorite aunt. And my cousin was at the dinner table. That cousin that I told you guys about, he acted like me and him didn't have history. First of all, when I came in, he was acting like we didn't even have history. It's like when narcissists know that they were manipulating you to go to their church because they wanted to. He didn't take me to church because he really had faith in God. He took me to church because the church had this thing called how many seats can you bring to church? It was like a competition. How many people can you bring to the church? So it wasn't necessarily that he cared about me, because if he cared about me spiritually, when he saw me, why was he acting weird, right? And not only that, but when they started talking about my aunt, they were saying really negative things about her. All they wanted to know, I guess they were trying to arrange where they were going to spend Thanksgiving, a holiday to be thankful, right? My aunt had invited everyone to her house, so my family got together to have a meeting behind her back, and they were basically saying how they don't feel comfortable going to her house because of her husband, although everyone's husbands are cranky. I'm like, what makes him different? Maybe it's his nationality or something. He's a different race. I'm like, that's the only thing I can think about. Everyone else's husbands is weird, And then not only that, but they were saying that her son had just got out of the hospital, right? So she's like, they were basically saying, oh, and her house is smaller than our house, and not only that, but her son just got out of the hospital. I don't think it would be fair for us to go to her house knowing her son just got out of the hospital. And this is all I said to them, right? I said, if she invited you to her house, obviously it's because she wants, us to celebrate with her because her son came out of the hospital. So that's a reason for her to want you guys to be there. When someone gets out of the hospital, it's a natural thing for them to want to be surrounded by family. And they were like, you know what? You're not even part of the family technically, so I don't even know why you're even saying anything. They didn't like me because I was outspoken and I told them their truth. That's why they didn't like me. I literally told them, look, when someone gets out of the hospital, because they basically wanted to make it seem like, hey, he might not want people around him. He just got out of the hospital. He might not want people around him. If he wants to come to the party, he can come to the party over here at our house, So my whole statement was basically saying, if they invited you, they obviously don't have a problem with the fact that they just got out of the hospital. If they invited you, they want to be surrounded by family. That's the only statement I made, and it's not wrong. But because you're dealing with flying monkeys and narcissists all together, and that's when I noticed my cousin was a flying monkey, because he was the first one to say, yeah, you're not part of the family. He was going along with what everyone said, and I couldn't believe it. I was looking at him like, boy, like years ago when you were ready to kill yourself, I was there for you. How could you say that? And my aunt, the one that I was protecting when I was younger and I was going to church and everybody was talking bad about me, that aunt was siding with the family. She was siding with the family. Whatever the family said about me going to church, my aunt was siding with them. But when they started to treat her bad and they were talking bad about her kids and her husband and her family, and she finally was like, you're not going to talk about my family, right? Me and her ended up getting close, and I brought it up to her attention. I forgave her, but I brought it up to her attention, and I told her, you know what? When you were hanging around the family and they were talking bad about me going to church and things like that, it's not like I was out, and not only that, comparing me to Mary Magdalene, but I'm over here going to church. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing anything of that nature. So to me, it was like when I was going to church and everyone was slandering me, you didn't protect me. You never defended me, and I told my aunt that because I'm a real empath. I'm a real empath. A real empath is going to tell you about yourself. And I told her that. I said, you never protected me as my aunt, but I'm here for you. But I want you to know that made me feel really bad that you were going along with whatever the family was saying. She apologized to me. Narcissists can't apologize. Flying monkeys, they can't apologize. She apologized to me. Some of them apologize and they don't really mean it. They're just going through something and they need you there. But guess what? I'm going to respect her because she apologized to me. So I forgave her. And we've been close. We've been cool ever since. I've always, still keep her at a distance because I know that, how people can be. But for the most part, I understand that I have to protect myself and no one else is going to protect me. I can't depend. I can't, rely my happiness on other people. But my whole thing is she apologized to me. She told me she didn't know that her family was like that. She knew they were like that, but she didn't want to believe it. Right? That's how flying monkeys act. I just didn't want to believe it until it happens to me. Right? But I feel like me talking to her made me see that there was nothing ever wrong with me. And it also allowed me to see that everyone was getting their karma, the narcissists and the flying monkeys. And when the flying monkeys are getting their karma, I'm not going to try to knock them down if they're already knocked down. I don't get off on that. I'm not a narcissist. I'm going to knock you down because you're already down. No. So, I forgave her. And, and what I realized is that, a lot of flying monkeys, they don't like to apologize for the wrongs that they've done to other people. They just care about what's happening to them in that moment. What happened to my aunt was that my grandmother is so old that everyone is fighting for her properties, for her money, because they know she's getting ready to die. Narcissists get crazy about money. They get greedy. When it comes to your parent dying, your parent might want to leave all of their kids with some money. They want to divide it equally. Narcissists do not want that to happen. They want to either steal your parents' money behind your back, even behind their own parents' back, or they want to manipulate your parent or almost hold your parent hostage. So they'll start to control the house line, the phone line, who your parent talks to. They'll start moving in just so that they can control who comes in the house. They'll put cameras everywhere. Someone who is a narcissist will try to control the whole scene, and what happened to her was that's exactly what happened to her. And not only that, they took her off from getting anything if my grandmother dies. So if my grandmother was to die, she's not getting anything. That's what made her realize, hey, I'm dealing with some evil people and I thought they were my siblings, right? And to me, it's like I always knew they were evil. That just confirms to me their level of evil to me, right? Personally, to me, they've done this to me. I already knew they were evil. I was always wishing they would get their karma some way, somehow. And, eventually they got their karma. It must have happened. It took years for it to happen, but they got their karma. And even the flying monkeys, the people around them got their karma. Because then through this aunt, because I don't talk to my family. So through this aunt, she basically tells me that my cousin, the one that took me to the church, that everyone basically doesn't talk to him anymore, or they disowned him, all because he's not living up to their expectations. He's not getting married. They're questioning his sexuality. He's very feminine. They basically, feel like he's gay, So it goes to show a lot about how narcissists judge. But because his mom is the ringleader, she's trying to include him still. She's like, hey, you're welcome to come back, but you need to come back because if you turn your back on us like this, you might never be able to come back. I might have to sacrifice you and you're my son. That's how she's looking at it. So he's kind of like, I know you're a narcissist. I know you want to sacrifice me. Well, guess what? You can't have me. I'm living my life. That's his attitude. So what he basically told my aunt was that his mom was a narcissist. And I'm looking like, I already knew she was a narcissist. All of this is old information to me. I have known this for years, right? And I've seen how they treated me for years just because I was younger. And I always knew there was something wrong with these people. And I even told them about it. I called them out several times in front of them. That's why they didn't like me, right? I was always calling everyone out when they were saying or doing something that was weird to me. Because narcissists do things that's super weird. And they pretend to be empaths while they're doing it. So what I'm saying with my cousin being a flying monkey, pretending to be an empath, is that I reached out to him when he was going through that, when people were devaluating him. devaluating him. So I basically reached out to him, basically told him, hey, this is what I wanted you to realize, was that, the family, this is what I wanted you to realize, is that the family is filled with narcissists. I'm glad that you know the term, the term now, the terminology now, but this is what was been my truth and my experience the whole time. So even if you're going through this now, basically, I've been going through this my whole life. So imagine how I feel, right? And I wasn't making it about myself, but I was basically letting him know, like, this is what I've dealt with. I completely understand, why you're the way you are, or why you're closed off. I understand why you're in pain or why you're hurt. And I just want you to know that I'm here for you. If you ever want to talk, I'm here for you. And he never responded to me. He never said anything back to me, never responded to me. And not only did he not respond to me, but he actually went to go tell my aunt, the one that got kicked out of the family, which, apologized to me. She apologized to me. He went and told her, because she knows that the family is filled with narcissists. She also knows the terminology. So she's like, these people are narcissists, and they're basically talking to each other about the family. And she tells me, because everything you do in the dark comes to light, she tells me that he basically tells her that I reached out to him, and he basically told her that he never texts me back. He's like, I didn't text her back because my family, they work for the government. They can tap into people's phones, and I don't want them to see that I was talking to her, basically. So he's worried about how his family is going to view him if they knew that he was talking to me, although he doesn't even talk to them. He's like, I was a flying monkey. I can't look you in the eyes and tell you that I was being manipulated, even though I know that I was dealing with narcissists. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of knowing that, of apologizing to you for what I did to you. I'm not going to sit here and apologize for leaving you hanging. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of knowing that you're not alone in this, because it's only about my pain and what I'm going through. I don't care about you reaching out to me, telling me that my family, they're narcissist or whatever. I don't really care. I only care about my experience. This cousin, he's a lot older, especially now. He's sitting here calling my aunt, calling other people, telling them about how people in the family are narcissists and all of this stuff. Yet he never believed me. He never defended me when I was going through it. If anything, he told, when they told me to my face that I'm not part of the family, he basically told me to leave. He's like, well, why don't you just go? Because, you just don't get along with anyone. Because basically he was like, every time something foul is happening, every time they're planning something awful on someone, you're always saying, no, that's not right. So if you don't know how to just go along with the BS, why are you here? Basically, that's how he made it seem. So to me, it's very funny how a lot of flying monkeys, I know I'm making this video super long, but I just wanted to express how they work. They go through situations, they get devalued by the people that they were playing the flying monkey role with. They were surrounded by these narcissists, being flying monkeys. Now, when they do something that is not good in the eyes of the narcissist, or they don't obey the narcissist, right? If they don't live the type of life that the narcissist wants them to live, or they don't act or talk or behave the way the narcissist wants them to behave, the narcissist will discard them, even if they're their children. That's why I say, narcissists don't care about anyone. They act like they care about their kids because they feel like that's what society standards are. Like, society says you have to care about your kids, but the whole time they're treating you bad, right? So That's my experience with flying monkeys. You know, I used to think when I was younger, you know, people are never going to view my family the way I view them because they all stick together, right? They stick together, you know. I used to tell myself, why did my cousin do this to me when, you know, I was there to wipe his tears when he was ready to commit suicide and I was a young girl, you know, I was a kid. And instead they treated him like he was the kid and I was the adult. So, you know, even now, he didn't even want to apologize or say, hey, you know, this is what you were talking about, or this is, you know, what you went through, or I understand what you went through and, you know, I apologize. And he didn't even have to apologize. He could have just said thanks. Because just by saying thanks for that, you know, message that you sent me, it made me feel better. Or, you know, just saying thanks, it to me, that's my way. That's your, you know, to me, I would look at that as, you know, an apology, you know, like, okay, we're cool now. Like we see what was going on the whole time, you know, thanks. You're not crazy. Thanks. You know, thanks. Your experience was real too. Thanks. You know, you could have just said thanks, but instead he ran off to my aunt and told her that. And that's what made me realize that flying monkeys, they stick together. So once the narcissist devalues certain flying monkeys, now the flying monkeys get together and they try to form their own little group behind your back, and they try to make it seem like they knew what was going on when it came to the narcissist. They just didn't think it was going to happen to them. Then they form their own group and they make you feel like you're included in that group, but in reality, they're just forming a new group. You know, they're using your situation or your experience along with theirs to make a comparison. They're trying to compare themselves to you. And there's no comparison because you're the one that's been bullied the whole time. And then, you know, what makes it so sinister, so diabolical is that he sat there and he's like calling, you know, my aunt behind my back, thinking that she's not going to run back and tell me what he said. And he, you know, she runs back like a flying monkey because that's been her role during you know, while she was with the family. That's been her role the whole time, is to go back and forth, you know. So she tells me, and that's what made me realize, because, you know, that's what made me realize, wow, these people are psycho. Because that same cousin, you know, he wanted to have a meeting, a family meeting. He basically said, I want to talk about, you know, all of this narcissism going on in our family. We need to have a family meeting. Yet when I reached out to him, he didn't care. So he's basically reaching out to the narcissist. He's over there seeking the love of the narcissist. Seeking the love of the narcissist. So that's what flying monkeys will do. They'll seek the love of the narcissist, and they won't apologize to the people that they've wronged. They won't have any empathy, any sympathy. You know, a lot of times they don't even want to look you in the eyes. You run across these type of people again, and they act like you're not there, like you're invisible. It's like they don't want to look you in the eyes because they know they were slandering you, you know. So he didn't want to text me because it's another form of, I don't want to look at you. I don't want to admit that I was wrong. You know, I knew I was wrong, but I don't want to admit to that. That's what makes you a flying monkey, even after you've left those narcissists in your life. If those narcissists turned on you and you still walk around acting like a narcissist, then you sold your soul to that narcissist. And by the time that you got out of it, by the time you got out of the abuse and the manipulation, and you realize, wow, I've been a flying monkey this whole time. By the time you realize it, and they've kicked you out, and you're so hurt about it, you know, you're feeling like you're being tormented. Now you're the victim. Oh, I'm the victim now. You know, I'm being tormented. I'm being treated badly. You know, I'm getting treated badly. Yet these same people do not want to apologize to the people that they've wronged or anything. They want to stay in that victim mentality. They want to act like, you know, like they're not that type of person, that they would never do that to someone. Yet they were doing it. They were selling themselves short for the narcissist. They were selling themselves short. And even after they leave and they believe that they're a victim, they're still behaving um, in a flying monkey, vibration. They're still vibrating off that same energy. But the difference is that they are trying to find videos on how to feel better about themselves. So they run across a lot of narcissistic videos of narcissist abuse and stuff like that. So they start to believe that they're the empaths. They start to really believe that they're empaths. So they went from flying monkeys to all of a sudden they're empaths, but they will never apologize to the people that they wronged. They feel like they shouldn't have to because it happened a long time ago. What's the point on apologizing? Imagine being married to a narcissist and he has beat you through the relationship, hit you while you were pregnant, and then never apologize to you. And they're like, oh, well, what's the point on apologizing? It already happened. It happened a long time ago. It's not like you're going to believe me anyway. Those are signs that flying monkey has sold their soul completely to that narcissist. They can't even apologize. So, a lot of flying monkeys, they're narcissists. You can tell the difference based on their behavior. They don't feel any shame. They only feel shame for themselves and their situation. It's only about me. And it's easy to believe the story because the story is true. You really are being treated badly by your family. It is true. You are. But have you treated other people in that manner? Did you jump on board with those people to slander someone? You have to ask yourself those questions. You have to really ask yourself those questions, and you have to think about it. Did I ever apologize to these people when I came across them? Because, you will always be tested by the universe. The universe will put those people back in your life so that you can either see their karma. So every time you're worried about, are these people going to get their karma? Of course they are. And a lot of times, the universe will make it so that you can see their karma. In my case, even if it was years later, I never talked to anyone, everything was being exposed. They showed their true colors in the end. They were fighting over money, So to me, it's like, if you're not realizing that you are not a perfect person and you're still playing the victim and you're calling other people narcissists just because you were hurt by a narcissist, and you're not looking at the bigger picture, you're not living in real life. You're not a real person. If I ever came across anyone that I made feel bad, that's something that I would want to correct, especially if that person is giving me the person is giving me the chance to correct it, right? Someone's giving you the chance to correct something. Why wouldn't you want to correct it? Unless you're a narcissist. Because narcissists think that you're going to try to get them back. Oh, they're just trying to pretend to be nice. They're going to get me back because what I did was wrong. Narcissists, you guys, have a lot of flying monkeys around them, and their flying monkeys begin to think that they're actual victims, but they were really a victim of the narcissist. And in actuality, instead of being angry at the narcissist, they're more angry at you than the narcissist, and they're actually angry at the narcissist, but yet they're seeking the love of the narcissist. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to flying monkeys who pretend like they're victims and they're empaths and they're survivors of narcissistic abuse, but they're always constantly trying to make their way back into the narcissist's life. And honestly, this isn't to try to control anyone and try to keep someone from being around a narcissist. It's like trying to tell a friend to break up with a narcissist. That's not going to work. They're going to turn on you, right? It's about letting people be themselves, but pay attention to how they treat you. It's one thing if they're, If you understand the situation, you understand why they're going back, but pay attention to how they treat you. Do they all of a sudden, act like they don't like you, or they start changing, their attitude changes. Pay attention to those things, because they'll get weird with you. That's how you can let someone be themselves. You can let them actually, because that's something that I've actually learned to do. When someone is hanging around someone that I know is a narcissist, I know it's a bad person, and I could tell that bad person's going to do something to them. Even if they're just friends, I'm like, that's a bad friend. She's going to do something to you. You can't make people, force them to do anything, right? And that's one thing that I've learned, is to let people just live their life, just let them live and learn, because eventually when it does happen, you'll still be there for them, and they'll finally understand you, and they'll actually respect what you have to say. That's what the narcissist doesn't understand. People will respect that you understand them, that you're there for them, that you're actually helping them learn and grow spiritually. The narcissist does not like that. The narcissist likes to stay in a low vibration. Once you start going through that in a family setting, especially, you'll realize that it happens in the relationship too. It's like, a lot of times you're in a relationship that's not healthy, but you keep running back. There's something dysfunctional going on right there. And that's what happens in families too. You'll have people claiming that they're victims, yet, victims to their own family, especially, but yet, they secretly want their families to reach out to them. They're always, they'll act as if, oh, I'm never talking to my family again. And then a week later, they're hanging out with them. And yet they were talking bad about them with you. That's another thing that can happen. They're talking bad about them with you. And because they want to make their way back into the family, they're going to use whatever information you gave to bash you to them. Because flying monkeys love gossip. So whatever you told them, they're going to run back and tell the family so that they can be accepted. So that they're like, look, I need to go back to the narcissist and give them some gossip. Because if I give the narcissist some gossip, they'll accept me. I know they will. They like the gossip. I just have to learn how to get their trust so that I could be back around them again. And I know I can get their trust by selling you out. So, always be careful with flying monkeys, you guys. Always be careful of identifying empaths and flying monkeys, because when you meet the narcissist and they're acting like an empath, it's believable. When you meet a flying monkey and they're acting like a victim, it's very, very believable. It might be even more believable than the narcissist itself, right? Because they're acting on an energy that's like they're in pain. Like they're really acting in pain. They'll cry to you. They're trying to wonder why people are treating them so bad, because they thought they were better than everyone at one point. They thought they were better than you. Now they're getting treated bad. They're like, hey, I'm still better than you. I'm not going to apologize. I'm still better than you. So that's where that flying monkey pretending to be an empath comes from. So always be aware of that. You can't really trust people. Most people are narcissists. People will gather together at a funeral acting like they're there to celebrate someone or to pay their condolences to someone, right? And yet they're sitting there talking about what people are, dressing like. Oh, look at her hair. Oh, look at her, how she looks. Look at how he looks. Oh, look at look at his girlfriend. Look at his boyfriend. And you're at a whole funeral. You go into a narcissist family and you bring your friends. They don't even know your friends. You just bring your friends to a gathering and they're sitting there attacking your friends, and you're like, and you're dealing with a narcissist family and you don't even know it. They're sitting there attacking your friends, making assumptions on your friends. They're so used to gossiping that when you bring a friend around, they're looking at your friend, or weird. They're trying to figure, they don't know this person, so they're trying to start a rumor, or they're trying to say something to make themselves look good, because they're like, look, all of us narcissists over here know each other, we're sticking together, we're blood, we're family. Who are you? Who invite you? Oh, you came over here, you came to this party with her? Oh, okay. Cool. And they start looking at your bag, your purse. They're staring at you, trying to figure out what to say about you. These flying monkeys, they love gossip. You'll notice them right away. As soon as you go into these families or these groups or organizations, you'll notice them right away. They love gossiping. They love it. And then they get everyone else to do it. And then they'll sit there and act like you're supposed to have empathy for them because you're at a funeral, but they're sitting there treating people bad. So these people pretend to be empaths, you guys. They're not empaths. You need to be careful. You need to be careful when you're listening to people, and really pay attention to how they treat others, Are they willing to admit their wrongs? Pay attention if you're dealing with someone who's always playing the victim, but they never say, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Or maybe I shouldn't have stayed around that long. Maybe I shouldn't have, treated this person that way. Or, if you're dealing with someone who is just, everyone is doing this to me, this person did this to me, but they're never thinking like, maybe it's because of me, maybe it's something I need to change, or maybe I offended someone. Most empaths are going to question themselves. If you notice, if you're an empath, you're going to question yourself, like, why do people not like me? Why does it seem like I don't vibrate with other people? Is it because I don't talk bad about other people with them? I don't like to gossip? Is it because it's cool to joke around and talk bad about people because it's just a joke? It's not a big deal and I'm not doing it. They think I'm supposed to just do it just because they're doing it and it's not a big deal. Like, are they, pay attention to those things. Pay attention to, people that are trying to act like empaths and then they're talking bad about others, especially people that have nothing to do with the situation. People who, they hang out in cliques and with groups, and when they're around groups, they tend to just start attacking people that they don't know, people around them, people who are always trying to have someone to contact to talk basically about a situation. They always have a story. A lot of those stories they created. Flying monkeys who pretend to be empaths, there's so many of them. It's very scary because they actually believe that they're empaths. They haven't even earned the badge, the empath badge, that Superwoman, Superman badge, the invisible badge you have. They can't even wear that. They can't even put themselves in a position to wear that because you haven't been through enough to wear that badge. You just went through something and you couldn't even handle it. You couldn't even handle it, and you went to go find out about narcissism and these videos to make yourself feel good because you didn't have those narcissists around you anymore. When it's people like me and you who were betrayed by these narcissists a long time ago. So do not fall for the scam, you guys. They just can't take what the narcissist has dished out to them. They're not used to being on the other side of the mirror, so always remember to be kind, be forgiving, always remember as an empath to understand that everything has a cycle. People do get their karma, and everything that you do, as much as you try to hide it, as much as the narcissist in your life try to hide what they've done to you, all of those things will come to light. If they've done it to you, they'll do it to someone else, and not everyone is going to react the same way. You might have let it go. Other people might not let it go. You get me? So, I hope this video was helpful. If you guys found this video helpful, do not forget to like. If you guys are new to my channel and you guys have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, subscribe to this channel to hear more content on narcissism, and share this video, share your thoughts. And I will talk to you guys on the next one. Sending you guys nothing but love, light, and peace. And I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Love you guys. Bye.